This is a channeled message, so it's going to be different than what you will read on the blog post. The year 2022 is the year of duality and polarity coming to a singularity. Numerology, 2 is the number of polarity and duality. If you take 2 and 2 and 2, that equals 6, the number of victory. The 6 of Wands. We'll see polarity. We'll see the opposite ends of each spectrum. So with those ends of the spectrum, it's pointing out that everything is one and the same. So the false illusion of division, the roles are shifting. The first will be last and the last will be first. 12 tribes have been dispersed all over the world. Those tribes, there are different hues. It's not more so about a bloodline, it's more so about a frequency. First of all, 144, 12 and 12, that's the zodiac, that's the 𝒕𝒉𝒂𝒕, and 12 and 12 is 144, that's a frequency. So those that vibe on that frequency, first of all. So this whole, regardless if it's symbolic, I'm going to more so talk about the symbology. So with these various diasporas that happen to physical people, but these physical people still vibed at a certain frequency, that a lot of them are going to come together and recognize who they are and recognize that same energy within others. People can't look at a person and think that they know them. That's programming. If you could look at me and think that you know me, then you are obviously programmed. The same way how I could walk out the door and I could look at someone, and if I already feel like I know them, I'm programmed. And a lot of that ideology is going to break down under the pressure. I hear specifically under the pressure. And that pressure can come from a multitude of different directions. So when people, with this transformation of the identity, and I feel like that is encoded in 222 and the number 6, that people will understand. So I know why now. I know why. Because 666 is not the one aspect, is the mark of the beast, which is nothing but reality. So everything comes from matter. So 666 is the number of matter. So you have 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. And that represents matter, atom. Everything, every physical person, individual came from Adam, which is clay, which is matter, which is the earth. We do have the North Node transitioning on January 19th into the sign of Taurus. Matter, the earth. We are all part of the earth, okay? So as those protons, neutrons, and electrons start to, I hear, magnetically transfer, so the earth is going to send out a vibration. And that vibration is going to vibe within the earth, the God within me, and the same for every being. So it may vibe with individuals differently. I also hear water. So water, this dude, don't remember his name. Anyway, he did a study on the vibrations of water and how using different vibrations, different words, which words are vibrations, that you could affect the crystals in the water. And we are made of 70% water, maybe more, maybe less, depending on your personal body makeup of water. So those two, water and earth, vibrating at a certain frequency. The earth is made up of, I think, 70% of water, and the rest is earth. So Scorpio is a water sign, the deep waters. Going back to the beginning, Genesis 1 and 1. Reprogramming the world, the earth, our reality is reprogramming. So therefore, people are reprogramming, whether conscious of it or unconscious. Some people, their soul or their spirit has been suppressed within their physical body. And their body is nothing but a vehicle for the soul, for their spirit. And being that they have been living from the body instead of living from the soul, from the spirit, that they need to wake up. So like an earthquake, I do believe that earthquakes will happen around in the world, but it also will shake up a lot of people, shake loose a lot of that dormant frequency to awaken within them. So I did have another message sort of kind of planned out. If you want to go check out the blog post that has the retrogrades, Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, all the different highlighted astrological events for 2022, you can do so by checking out the website, which is www.fd11-11ministries.org. But this is a channel message, so it's going to be different than what you will read on the blog post. That is just like cut and dry, getting straight to the point. And it's not about a spiritual community. It's not about people not being spiritual per se. It's more so about like a person frequency, because you have these spiritual communities and they get stuck in that identity. It's about breaking out of molds, breaking out of identities, shedding that skeleton, shedding that exterior, and shedding the ignorance and the arrogance to tap into a higher level of consciousness. If you think that you already know, then you're not really seeking the spirit, because things are changing so rapidly and going to change so immensely that people that think that they absolutely know from A to Z, they will have the most difficult time during this transition. And people were asking me about like people that took the jab and people that didn't. I think that it's more so about, are you resonating out of fear? Did you do something out of fear? Or were you really led by the spirit? Did the spirit tell you, the divine spirit tell you, not a man, but did the divine spirit tell you to do something and you followed through with that, or not to do something and you followed through with that? That's what is really going to empower people. That's what's really going to help protect people against anything. Because no weapon formed against me, you, her, them shall prosper if we are standing firmly in our personal knowing. It's not for me to point the finger at this person or that person if I'm not following the divine spirit, regardless of what they may have done on the exterior. I don't know their personal relationship with their higher source. I don't know that, nor do I feel entitled to know that, nor do I feel arrogant enough to try to predict that or project that onto somebody else. That's one lesson that needs to be learned. Whether a person decides to do this or to do that or not to, that's their personal relationship with their higher calling. Now, once again, if you're operating out of the level, the frequency of fear, that's a frequency that will have you making decisions based off of the carnal circumstances, off of the physical circumstances. But we walk by faith, not by sight. And I'm going to do a breakdown of the Matrix movie. I did one brief breakdown before the movie came out, but I'm going to do another one breaking down that, because it's a prophetic movie, as most sci-fi movies are. But anyways, okay, so what do you see in the world? What do you intuitively see in the world? If you had a blindfold on and you felt like you were supposed to do a specific task, would you be able to do it? Or will you be held captive to that fear, to what you're seeing around you? They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. So you got to be careful what you allow in your vision, what you're watching. Because the subconscious mind is always recording. And when you may have fears or doubts, that could be coming from what you're allowing into your psyche. Okay, I'm looking at my site here now, and I'm going to read a couple of the notes. Okay, so first of all, I have it titled as 2022 Breaking the Matrix. So the Matrix is a false construct of the material world, which I will do a breakdown of this movie, the latest one, as it relates to twin flames and also spiritual awakening. and a lot of symbology, but the whole movie series altogether, because they all are intertwined. Okay, so the collective is going through a rebirth. So it doesn't matter if you're a spiritual person or not, you're going to experience spiritual events and transformations. So I will have individual videos and posts throughout 2022 and onward until I'm divinely led to do something else, for all of the eclipses, equinoxes, solstices, new moons, and full moons. All right, so first we have the retrogrades, which we do have a retrograde. Well, first we have the Mercury retrograde, and that deals, of course, with communication, travel. It also deals with, being that it's connected to Gemini, it deals with the nervous system and our lungs and our hands. And, with the lungs, it's very important, what's going on in the world currently. And that will start, the first one will start in January the 14th to February the 4th. So we're coming upon that time now. And you can read the dates. I actually have a 12-month zodiac angel wall calendar that has the breakdown of the new moons and full moons and the signs, and as well as the Mercury retrogrades and the signs. Okay, and currently we are in this energy of Venus retrograde, and that started on the 19th of December, and it will continue until January 29th, and that's in the sign of Capricorn. This is us rethinking and figuring out really what is valuable to us, and that is very important. When you boil down all the materialistic stuff and the projections from others, and you're just there sitting with what is very sacred and valuable to you, if you had to make a choice, what would you choose? Like, would you choose the admiration of outsiders, or would you choose those that really truly accept you and getting to your core values, and those that support your core values and the things that are really important to you? It could even be natural resources. And I go into as well, we have the Venus star point. And the Venus star point happens on January 8th. And that's where the Sun and Venus, they pretty much kiss. They come together and they align to rebirth the Venus energy. And remember, currently Venus is retrograde at this point in the sign of Capricorn. Moving on to Taurus and Scorpio nodal axis transition. And that happens either on the 18th or the 19th of January. And that will last until July 17th, 2023. That's about 18 months. All right. And I have a huge breakdown about this energy. So the North Node will transition. The North Node will transition into the sign of Taurus. So this deals with anything that is Venusian, but especially with the earth. Like how I was saying, we are made of earth and water. Okay, we have Earth, Taurus, the North Node, what we are stepping into, what we need to bring more into our life, which is stability. And then we have the South Node transitioning into the sign of Scorpio, which is a water sign. And that's what we need to really balance within ourselves. So we have the Taurus and the Scorpio axis. We need to balance the earth and water within us, as we are made of those two elements. I needed to tell you guys, because I told my oldest daughter that I was going to tell you that she did my makeup. I hope that you like it. With the nodal axis transition, Taurus into Scorpio, like I was saying before, how we are made of earth and water. Earth being Taurus, that's in the North Node, what we are moving towards and what we need to focus on and develop. Earthquakes with the North Node in the sign of Taurus. And I have done a couple channel messages that kept coming through about shaking, thundering, shaking of the earth. And with that shaking of the earth, and then on the opposite end with Scorpio being the South Node, this could be floods or droughts. So take this to our as the planet continues to go through this whole transition, and as things shake up and things are are reshaping, as the world is reshaping itself, that we will go through our own personal reshaping within our family units, within our communities around us, as well as within ourselves. Maybe you want to form a new diet during this transition. Maybe you will start to change your diet altogether. You will probably, some people will start a garden. Some people will start natural, holistic healing methods. Some people will start their own home garden. Some people will be led to do those things. Here with the North Node in the sign of Taurus, this signifies the focus on planet healing, new environmental developments, sustainability, strengthening our legacy. So that is whatever we have to pass down to others, whatever knowledge, whatever wisdom, whatever techniques, skills that we can pass down to others. And it doesn't have to, it's not necessarily our family. It can be soul family. It can be your neighbor. It can be sharing knowledge, information, even good food, even goods with those that surround you, bodily health, purging material possessions. So the thing about values, it's not about something that like physical possessions that build in value. This is more so what you find sacred and valuable within yourself. So throughout this whole transition, we're learning about true values. What is the most important to you? And how to strengthen that. And with the South Node in the sign of Scorpio, this welcomes deep collective healing. Also, the formation of new tax laws, developments in cellular experiments, secret scandals and whistleblowing, both governmental, personal, entertainment-wise, occult knowledge practices being widely accepted and revealed. So you have the shadow aspect of occult practices of people or groups or organizations using mass control to put people in a trance. And that can be many different techniques. You know, it will come out, the jab, people that do or don't take the jab, or using different type of techniques, media, etc. And then personally, this is about people tapping into their own power using occult practices like the law of attraction, which is only one of the laws, but people using that more often, or tapping into the other laws. People moving more so away from religion, which is structure. It's good to have structure, but it's more so like people moving towards things that were considered to be taboo, things that were considered to be unacceptable. And magic, you can already see that in a lot of the movies. You can see that in it's becoming more mainstream because as people continue to awaken, they realize that astrology, the 𝒕𝒉𝒂𝒕, the zodiac, all of that is true and can be used to help enhance their life. So they will become more dependent on themselves instead of dependent on outside sources. Another message that I channeled, it was during, I will have that video listed down below, but it was about indigenous girls, young children. Some were kidnapped and they were being held. I don't remember all the details, but they were being held somewhere, and it was like a ring, and they're going to find this human trafficking ring, and that it will be widespread, like mass media will cover it, and it will be a big deal because a lot of enforcement, a lot of people that were highly connected were involved in this. I mean, not a lot, but, some people, were involved in this. But at least I do remember for sure it was a sheriff. And then some other people, but it was like a smaller place, but it will be like widespread. People will find out about it. And that was during a Scorpio. I know I mentioned Scorpio, so it could be during this transition in Scorpio. It could be Scorpio season. I'm not exactly for sure, but I did mention Scorpio. So it could happen throughout this 18-month nodal transition. Another thing about human trafficking, lost, 𝒕𝒉𝒂𝒕, cases coming to the forefront and being solved, new developments in the PORN industry, equal rights even in that industry, hospitals and prison changes. A lot of people that will be vindicated because of false imprisonment or lost documents that will be discovered somehow, or, you know, falsified evidence and stuff. Sorry about that. I had to move because my battery had died. So the eclipses we have here on April 30th, we have the partial solar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. On May 16th, we have the total lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. On the 25th of October, the partial solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. And lastly, we have on November 6th, the total lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. Now, I'm not going to go over the details of those energies right now. I will wait until it's time to do those, you know. But this is a channeled message. So this is the overall energy of the collective, of the world. It's not necessarily pertaining to individuals. It's just a representation of the overall collective energy of what the world as a whole will feel, the vibrations. I'm tapping into the energy. Some may be personal individual messages. It just depends on a person. Some will give, some will lose some will gain some. Some will lose power, some will gain power. The first will be last and the last will be first. This is the exchange. This is a transition as the world is going through a major transition, as well as our entire solar system is going through a new transition. There is a star called the dog star, and it may be coming closer. I mean, we just don't know about that. If you follow that, then you would know some details about it. But even some of us can feel it intuitively that is something else bigger that's happening at play here. So it's not just about like our everyday lives. I feel like everyday life, people will experience things differently, but this is the overall energy for like the common, like for masses of people, or for the earth as a whole, because the power is changing, the power is shifting. So the people that you see in office now, that those powers will change. And even the structure of how voting and how all of that type of stuff in education, all of that, and what we have learned will transition, as well as like even things in science will change, and they will, like I was saying, with new experimentations and cellular developments and mental developments, and the fight against, you know, cancer, against mental diseases, all of that stuff will transition and will change. So this is a very exciting time. Also, it can be a little nerve-wracking, a little bit, you know. I'm a fixed sign. I have a lot of fixed energy, so change, I like it on a smaller scale, but you know, sometimes it can be very difficult to accept something new and to be okay with it. But you know, that comes with spiritual maturity. So continue to get into your spiritual practices. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will drop more prophetic messages, like I was saying with the matrix, decoding that. I'm decoding. Primarily, I'm going to do like the resurrection one first, and I will make reference to some of the other, to the three or four other ones, because it's actually technically four of the, technically it's five of the Matrix movies. It's one that's animated. That was the fourth one that wasn't as popular. But I will, you know, make reference to those movies. I also will make reference to other movies and even some TV shows eventually. You know, I'll make reference to those, because I think that a lot of times things are given to us in small doses as a form of osmosis for the world, and for those that can pick up on it. It's a way of how to confirm things, but also to sort of kind of like introduce things for those that may not be ready, or that may be ready, either or. So I thank you once again for tuning in. Make sure that you do subscribe, and you can always find us on our other platforms, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, peace.